The Particular Abilities of Marinette and Her Discovery of Them by Planterfun06, a Miraculous Ladybug, Batman, crossover fanfic. Chapter 12, Dreams. Bonus Chapter. Lewis Carl always had strange dreams. They were always a bit funny. He'd have what he could only guess would be considered normal dreams. Ones where he would go about his day, or maybe he would be in some scary situation, or strange abnormal situations he found himself in. Once he dreamed he went the entire day only wearing an overcoat. Little absurd things. But he always had those other dreams, the ones that were a bit more wonky. They had been reoccurring since early childhood. Really, they'd been happening as long as Lewis could remember. While all his other dreams consisted as himself, these dreams were always in the body of another person, or more. He was another person. He was never Lewis, though he didn't know who he was. He had been perplexed and fascinated by his dreams since he was a child, but they always seemed to disappear from his mind a few hours after his awakening. So he had made a habit of writing his dreams down on a sheet of parchment and keeping them all together. No one knew where dreams come from, what caused them, only theories. Most people just thought it was your own mind coming up with the things you saw. But Lewis had no clue how his mind could come up with something so nonsensical. He quite enjoyed going back and reading what he had written. Most of the time it would dredge up the forgotten memory of the strange dream, though he found the dreams never became clearer. Always whimsical, you may say. Always quite odd. Voices were always high. Colors too vivid. Shapes never uniform. The moon would even sometimes become a smile. There was even a rabbit with a pocket watch. In fact, there was always a rabbit with a pocket watch. Where did his mind get the idea of a rabbit with a pocket watch? It was absolutely absurd. His dreams were sometimes filled with incredibly odd things, and something incredibly new. Astonishingly strange as well. Lewis sometimes questioned if his dreams were him possibly seeing through time with some of the things he witnessed. Everything, every absurd, every nonsensical thing he wrote down on a sheet of parchment and stuck into a box under his bed. When asked to do so, he would tell stories of his recorded dreams to his friends. The Dean of Oxford's daughter on the boating trips. He could never remember the names of the individuals he was dreaming, so he simply used hers. She enjoyed the tales so much she requested him write them all down into a book. So he simply did. He pulled out a box from beneath the bed and got to writing them into a complete story. It was truly a hodgepodge of all the different dreams put together, made absolutely no sense, and could drive a man mad reading it if he truly attempted to understand. He started with the dream of a girl who fell down a hole in the woods while following the rabbit with a pocket watch. Oh, and in the dream he was always wearing a pale blue and white. She'd have to wear blue and white as well. Oh, he had to add the cat, the one that was extremely chaotic, loved to make riddles and poke fun, but black wasn't nearly as whimsical. Purple and pink. He would make the cat vibrant purple and pink striped. He'd include the singing flowers. He'd have her walk into a garden and sing with the flowers, just like in his dreams. Oh, and there was once a person who turned as small as a mouse. He only dreamed of it once, but he had it written down in detail. She could become minuscule as well. He could also make her big as a house. Oh, yes, he had to write that. And the tea party. He'd write about the tea party. The one with the hat maker, who was more than a little odd, and the tea set that moved of its own accord. Oh, and he had to add the queen. He'd have to add the queen with a big dress, who hated everyone. That dream in particular was very unclear, but he did recall bits and pieces. He would have to write it all just as bright, as strange, and as whimsical as his dreams truly were. And then, in the end, she'd wake up and discover it was just a dream, just like he always had. He picked up the book along with all the absurd illustrations he had made. He wanted to show this to her right away, a truly absurd book he had made at her request. But first, a title. What could he name it? Dreams? Didn't make sense with the book. An absurd tale? No, the name should be as questionable and as curious as the book. Ah, he had a perfect idea for the name. Alice in Wonderland.